So let's talk about what's going on in Brazil. Isn't it funny that the mainstream media is portraying this as equivalent to January 6th? Seriously? Well, number one, you've got two different countries with two different political climates. That's number one. Number two, Da Silva was convicted of crimes and then he won by a slim margin in this election. In fact, going through my notes here, he was exonerated by the STF on jurisdictional grounds back in 2021. So we're dealing with somebody who was convicted of these criminal crimes while in office. Trump wasn't convicted of anything in office. They may have tried to impeach Trump. And neither Trump nor Bolsonaro, who was the person who lost to Da Silva, also known as Lula da Silva, neither Bolsonaro or Trump encouraged their supporters to raid whatever government building it was in whatever country it was. None of that happened. None of that happened. So how can you compare January 6th? And by the way, there have been these conflicts happening in Brazil going back decades. Remember the dissolution of the military dictatorship back in 85? Or dissolving, rather, the dictatorship back in 85? And so you have all these elections happening in Central and South America, countries like Peru, Brazil, where you have these left-leaning leaders. Now, these protesters who you saw on TV, I'm sure you've seen all this footage, where they've been raiding the government buildings in Brasilia. Well, it turns out that these aren't necessarily the protesters that were protesting the day before, because for 70 days, Bolsonaro supporters have been urging the military in Brazil to stop the election, or intervene here with this election of Da Silva, Lula da Silva, who was convicted of crimes, and again, that was overturned by the STF. And the day before, now this is going to sound very similar, isn't it? The day before, according to internal documents, the day before, people knew that there was going to be a large crowd, these possible protests, and they did not have the proper security in place to handle it. They didn't ward off the buildings to prevent these people from penetrating these offices. So this is what's going on in Brazil. But to compare it to January 6th is total BS. No comparison whatsoever. I mean, by that same logic, I can say that January 6th was caused by the storming of the Bastille during the French Revolution, or just before the French Revolution. However that all turned out. I forget exactly how all the events played out in France. But one thing that separates the United States from a lot of these other countries is our rule of law. You say, yeah, well, Trump broke the law on January 6th. He encouraged his supporters to riot, to loot. Well, last time I checked, none of these Trump supporters, even if some of them did get into the Capitol building, I don't remember any of them burning down the Capitol building, do you? They didn't burn down the Capitol building. They didn't destroy historic artifacts or statues of Thomas Jefferson, George Washington. Oh, wait a minute, who did that? Oh, yeah, people on the ultra-left. Now, I'm an independent voter. I've said that before. But it's just funny to watch the media go after these people. I'm just being honest with you here. Actually doing this video on the fly. I got to share the story with you. I lost my phone. I can't find my phone anywhere. I've checked with the bus service. I've checked at work. I can't find my phone. So I can't do the videos how I want to do them. So this is, as I said, on the fly, a one-take video before I go to work. But I had to come here and talk about this, post a video for YouTube. for all my listeners. So thank you for supporting this thing we call the Cultural Confederacy. Because if you go back in history, and that's part of the gig here on the Cultural Confederacy, is we preserve history and culture, which means you have to study events that happened in the past, whether it be the French Revolution, what happened in Brazil, what happened January 6th. But again, I don't remember Trump supporters destroying statues of George Washington or Thomas Jefferson, or burning down, a courthouse like they did in Portland. And who in 2017, late 2016, early 2017, who was it that was looting, rioting in the streets when Trump got elected? Oh yeah, it was people on the other side. So for all of you cats in the media who want to sit there and act like you're innocent and that you had no part in what happened, well, let's say in Charlottesville, when you could have simply put your cameras down and walked away, you people, you make me sick. You make me sick. And the American people are tired of it. No, what's going on in Brazil has nothing to do with what happened with Trump and January 6th. Absolutely nothing to do with it. Now, there can be parallels, there can be similarities, but you can say that about any conflict anywhere in the world. Show me one piece of evidence. Show me one video clip where you had an actual Trump supporter. And do we know that these were actual Trump supporters that infiltrated the Capitol building, caused this insurrection on January 6, 2021? Do we really know that for sure? Things aren't always what they seem, what they appear. I mean, you got a guy like Ray Epps, who has, by the way, never been charged, okay? He was interviewed by the January 6th committee with a lot of these leading questions, who is one of the only people on tape, only person to be videoed, instructing people to go into the Capitol building. Though in his testimony with the January 6th hearing, he said that they were going to the Capitol. Well, there's a legal difference between going someplace and going into someplace illegally. Walking across the street isn't illegal. If I tell my friends I'm going to go to the theater, I want you to come with me to the theater, that is illegal. Now, if you say we're going to go inside the theater and rob the theater, steal all the popcorn and just to have a heyday with the concessions or whatever, and rip up the seats in the movie theater, well, then that's committing a crime. But again, there is no comparison between what happened on January 6th to what's going on in Brazil. Two different countries, two different political climates. And had the media done its homework, which only took me a couple of minutes, you would have known that you had peaceful protests happening for 70 days in Brazil, and that the people who supported Bolsonaro had requested that the military intervene here and stop what they considered to be an unjust election because of the crimes that Lula da Silva had committed while in office. And he's cracking down on civil liberties. That's the concern. But we're not talking about that. And the media is not talking about what happened in late 2016, early 2017, when everybody on the ultra-left, the BLM types, these SJW types, Antifa, were attacking all these major cities, looting, rioting, burning things to the ground. But that's not considered an insurrection? Or the fact that this past weekend, did you see this? This past weekend, you had this Justice for Jan 6th happening all throughout the country. These series of rallies. No, not by Trump supporters. This was by ultra-left progressives. Ultra-left progressives who wanted integrity in our elections. Now, wait a minute. You won in 2020 by a landslide. Biden won. 80 million votes, right? He won. Not trying to get too political here, but Biden won. So why are you out there demanding fair and honest elections when your side won? Are we to assume from that you have doubts about the results of the 2020 election? Those of you who held this Justice for January 6th or January 6th Justice rally or series of demonstrations? So if you watch the video of them having this January 6th memorial, claiming that 5 officers gave their lives that day, when the truth is that Ashley Babbitt is the only person who was killed that day, who turned out to be a Trump supporter shot by a Capitol Police officer. But if you watch this, the videos of this memorial from the House of Representatives, and the Ringing a Bell did a video about this, you may have noticed some shouting in the background. Well, it turns out that was part of this Justice for January 6th series of rallies that was happening around the country. And in D.C., on the day they were having their January 6th memorial to remember the 5 police officers who lost their lives, although no police officer died on January 6th. And Ashley Babbitt was the only person who died, who was a Trump supporter shot by Capitol Police. But coming full circle here, in no way, shape, or form is what's going on in Brazil, or Brasilia, because that's the capital of Brazil. In no way, shape, or form is that equivalent to what happened January 6th. And why haven't they released all the security footage, FBI, of what happened January 6th? I want to know. If there was a true insurrection that happened in the United States of America, let us see all the camera footage. Let us see everything. Bring it out into the open. All you Democrats are saying, bring it out into the open. Well, let's do it. Let's go. What are you people afraid of? What are you people afraid of? So I thought I'd come here and talk about this. Just go through my notes. Maybe do this a little bit off of a one-take video again. You like the video, you know what to do. Sorry about the graphic here. Sorry it's not how I usually do things. But as I said, I lost my phone. So I have to go get a new phone tomorrow. But if you like the video, you like the series, you know what to do. You can also follow me on Instagram, hashtag Jason Composes, or find me on Twitter, Cultural Confederacy at Twitter. This is the Cultural Confederacy where the past crashes with the present. So this is the Cultural Confederacy saying peace out, and I'll catch you next time.